Hi there everyone, welcome back to my brand new channel, Malachita Stitches. Thank you for joining me on this video. This is one that I've been looking forward to making. This video is aimed at people who are interested in cross stitching, and particularly people who are interested in pre-stamped kits. You mainly get these from China, although you can buy them in different countries as well. You can buy them locally as well, wherever you are in the world. But a lot of them come from China. A lot of them are quite inexpensive, or so it appears at first glance. We'll discuss that later on. Hold that thought, we'll discuss that one later on. At first glance, they appear to be a lot less expensive than buying a pattern from a designer and kitting it up. And they're a really good choice for not only people who are just starting out on their cross-stitching journey, but people who are interested in doing a pre-stamped kit for all different reasons. So this video is just basically to explore that a little bit, to talk about my opinions, what I think about them, because I always give very honest opinions from my point of view, although everybody has different opinions. And the main reason for doing this video is to compare a cotton version with a silk version, because one thing that a big thing, if you look on some of the big Chinese websites, like for example AliExpress, which is the one that I use quite a lot and a lot of people use it, or some of the other websites where you can buy the pre-stamped kits, you can buy usually, quite often, I won't say usually, but quite often you have the choice between silk thread or cotton thread. So what I had done a couple of years ago, I had bought two. I found a pattern that I loved, which is this one here, and I couldn't make up my mind whether I wanted to do it in silk or cotton, so I bought one of each. So I'm going to show you in this video the difference between the two and tell you my honest thoughts about them for anyone who's interested. And so yeah, that's what this video is going to be about, and I'll give you my honest opinions about pre-stamped kits as well. So we'll start, this is the silk one. So you buy these kits, I think this only cost about £10, and that's why, because I loved the pattern, I loved the picture, and I just couldn't decide whether I wanted to do it in cotton or thread, and I thought I'll buy them both, because £20, it sounds like a lot, but again I thought I could maybe just give the other one as a gift to somebody else. So this is what it comes like. I just love this. It tells you the measurement on it. I have no idea what that says in Chinese. I would love to be able to read Chinese, but unfortunately I can't. So 472 centimetres. No, sorry, excuse me. This is, when you see the 472 by 125, that's actually the stitch count. So it's 472 stitches by 125 stitches. So don't be confused when you see that. That's not centimetres, that's the stitch count. So bear that in mind. It should tell you on the website though the actual size of the kit. So you get this, you get a pattern, and again in this video I'll probably just give you a brief description of how to use one of these patterns, because that can be really confusing for people to start with. When they get a pre-stamped kit they think, oh my goodness, what have I let myself in for? No idea what to do with this. So I'll give you a brief description once I've opened it all up. So you get your chart, and you can see this one is done, it's a double-sided one. So the stitch, it starts here. So this is, if you can see that there, 0 to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This is all your stitch count. So there's obviously 10 in each. Each box is 10 by 10 for anyone that's new to this. And it goes right along to, 230, and then when you switch it over, it starts on the back here, just a little bit left over of the 230, and that goes up to 240, 250, 260, all the way up to your 472 or 3 or whatever that was, 472. So that's the length, and again the width, if you see there again, that starts at 10 and it goes all the way down to just over 120, and that's the same because the width will stay the same on the other side. So this is your chart that you get. and that is basically used as a guide because it's a pre-stamped kit, so the pattern should be stamped on it, and I'll show you that in a little minute. The other thing that you get on here is all the colours, and again it should, I'm not sure if they always tell you how many colours are going to be in it when you order a chart on the description when you order a kit, because it's useful to know, because for anyone who knows about cross stitching, for people that don't know, I'll give you a little bit of information about that. If it's got less colours, it's going to be a bit quicker and easier to do. If it's got more colours, there's going to be a bit more to it. So cross stitch charts can go from anywhere between 2 or 3 colours all the way up to about 250, 260 colours, depending on if you've bought a kit, if you've bought a chart, and you've, all different things, all different factors. And if you've got less colours, you're going to have a bigger chance of having more patches of all one colour, and it makes it easier and a bit more relaxing to stitch. And you have to use your brain a bit more if there's more colours involved and you have more patches of confetti, which is lots of different colours on a small area. So this is what you get with your chart. Now, bearing in mind this is the silk kit, so let's open it up. This is what you'll get with it. So you get your silk threads. Now, it's really important to note, which I'm sure everybody will know anyway, these are not real silk, because at first I was thrown by that. I thought, whoa, real silk, they're selling that kit for £10. I knew fine well it couldn't be real silk, and it's basically some kind of man-made fibre, whatever it is. I don't know if it's acrylic or what. Don't know if you can see, there's quite a bit of shine. I would actually say it's more like a satin effect than a silk effect, because from what I've seen with fabric, satin is more of a shiny thing than silk usually. So either way, that's what they're called, silk threads, and this is what they look like. So you'll get, this is all the colours here, and they're all numbered, so you can see, start at 1, go all the way up, that's 18, 19, that goes up to 36, and then we've got on here 37 up to 45, 46 up to 49, so there's 49 colours in this one actually. And this is extras. You can see here, tells you the numbers, so that's 34. They're all numbered and they all come like this. And we pack it, and when these ones have run out, you can add these in. So what was my first impression? Because I'm always honest. My first impression, I'll be honest, was that's not really the colour I wanted, because when I picked out this picture, I could imagine it going up on my wall, either in the bedroom or in the living room, and I loved that teal colour, because that teal colour would go well with a lot of things in my house. And when I saw this, I was a bit disappointed, I'm not going to lie, and I thought obviously this is the main colour, it's a bit more of a purpley blue, and I was a bit disappointed because the colour didn't match really, quite far off I would say. However, it's still nice. It is still nice, and they're nice and shiny. I'm not going to show you anything about how to stitch with silk threads in this video, but look out for another one of my videos, because I will show you the techniques that I learned, because I did stitch a kit, started stitching a kit with silk. So I will do another video on that, and I'll show you the techniques that I learned, because that's something I see a lot in Facebook groups. People start doing it and it's a nightmare to work with, which I'll explain later on in the other video. Nightmare to work with, and I persevered with it. I'm one of these people who perseveres until I can learn how to do something, because I see it as a challenge. This is a challenge that must be overcome. So I did, and I found a couple of, so I can pass on a few tips to people when I do that video. This is just a little free gift that I got. So in with this as well, I got, you get a little package. I showed you that if you have a look at one of my other videos about my equipment that I use, one of the first videos, a little package about that size, and it's got the little thread cutters, some spare needles and thread ripper, and then they gave a free gift as well. I like to keep all the needles and thread cutters together, so I had kept them all together in a thing. So this is the chart. Here you can see that you've got one needle there, and you had another couple in the wee package. And this is it. So again, I really wish I could read Chinese. I'd love to know what this all says, but this is your chart. I'll see if I can move this along. And you do get the measurements for this when you buy it. Basically, I'm not going to move the camera just now, just to make things easier, but this is a little bit shorter than my big work desk, and you'll see what size my work desk is if you look on one of my previous videos where I show you all my equipment and my setup. So it's basically like a kind of smallish kitchen table, a decent sized work desk. So that's basically almost the length of that. For anyone that's interested in this pattern, because this is one of the ones that I think it's a big seller on AliExpress. And this is basically what it looks like. So you can see, and I'll just basically give you a really quick, make it as quick as I can, explanation of how these pre-stamped charts work. Basically the idea is that you don't have to keep going back and forward to a pattern, and most patterns, bear in mind, up until very recently you had to go about it either with a highlighter, you had to have the paper chart in front of you and mark it all off on the chart as you went, and it was good. It was like, it's a good challenge for people and people enjoy doing it. And then along came an app called Pattern Keeper, which again I had showed you that on one of my previous videos about my equipment and everything, so most people that are watching this who do cross stitching will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, have a look at my other video because I go into that a wee bit more. Pattern Keeper, you can look it up. It's a brilliant app for marking off your stitches on a pattern. That's an actual pattern that you would have bought. You wouldn't be able to use it with something like this, but this is what this is to save you. That's the original idea, to save you all the hassle of having to, that extra thought process of counting and doing your stitches in the right places. You don't have to count basically and mark things off. You just go straight onto here. So you'll pick a colour. Now that says 04. Don't be confused, that's not the thread number and it's not the DMC number. Now there's a difference between, this is another thing, I'll show you this just now. The good thing about these charts is you don't have to use it on a pre-stamped canvas like this. You could actually use it for yourself. You could actually get another piece of Ada and do it as a counted cross stitch, or you could get, now these are 11 count, sorry I forgot to say that, but this is an 11 count one, which means that there's 11, each square, each inch is 11 by 11 stitches, which means that they're bigger cross stitches, and a lot of them, if you wanted to do this smaller, you could get a smaller, a bigger count of Ada with smaller cross stitches, for example 20 count or 25 count. You could use this pattern to do that with, because here you see down the left hand side here, so you have your symbols which match this chart here, the chart, so that these symbols match the chart, and that's all the symbols. On the left hand side you have the number which corresponds to the colour or the symbol on the stamped. So if you look there, number 4, it says number 4. If you look for 04 on here, that is that symbol there, and you would see that that matches up, and that is going to be the same as 04. So you see 04, that's a kind of light bluey grey colour. If I bring across my whoops, my thread 04, yep, so that's a kind of, well, it's a grey, silvery grey colour. So, and again we'll take 01 on here, that looks like a kind of dark browny colour, would you say? I'm not sure. And on here, there we go, that's, whoops, 01, that is that kind of dark purpley brown, whatever it is. So the colour down the side on here matches the colour on the number on here, sorry, the number, and it also matches the number on your chart. So again, if we pick another one, 49, that's one of the colours on the flower, so there's a big section of it there, 49. So you can either just go straight to this, So we'll find 49 on here. There it is, that's white. You can see that there. So that's the white. And on here, if we look on our chart, 49 is right at the very end here. And there it is. It's white, because all the colour in the background on these symbols matches the colour in the background on the chart. So that's how that works. So you match up whatever number you pick. You could pick 28 on here. You can either look for it on the chart, or you can miss out the chart. You don't even need to use the chart. You can just go straight to that, your thing, and just pick out colour 28. So that's pretty straightforward once you know what you're doing. But a useful thing, when I come back to what I was talking about, if you wanted to use it as a county cross stitch and get your own Ada to work on, you basically look, so if we take that 49, the colour, the DMC colours, the actual DMC colour of thread is written down here. So you would look in your stash, or you would order it in for the colour 3865, DMC 3865, or whatever, all these different colours. So don't be confused with the fact that there's two different sets of numbers. That throws a lot of people. It threw me when I first got these charts. It's only the number on the left hand side that you're worried about for this, but it's useful to know that maybe you might run out of thread. You might run out of number 9, and you think, oh no, I just need another little bit. So you could try and source the colour, DMC colour 327, from somewhere else to finish it off. So in the main, you just ignore the DMC numbers, but it's useful to have. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's a brief description of what it looks like. And again, this is very useful. If you look here down the side, you also get an extra reference. So we'll pick out 49, which you could see is this big bit of yellow here. If we look on here, number 49 is yellow, and it tells you the DMC number there as well. So that's just an extra thing, because you know, you can see it on this, and you're like, what on earth is that? It doesn't, you know, you might not be sure. So you look for 36, and it's like a red dot surrounded by a white square. You would look for it here. You would maybe, it could be a small patch. The best way to describe that is it could be a small patch, like, I don't know if you can see this here. So in the centre of the flower, there's no number. And this is really important. It's a really important part of knowing how to work these. You might have small wee bits and pieces all round about here that don't have a number. So if you've got a big patch, you'll have a number because there's enough space to put the number. All these wee bits in between don't have numbers because there's no space to put them. So if I took this one here, the one where it's like a red dash and a kind of light blue box, I would basically look here. You could either use your chart and find it on the chart, which I was doing a lot. I need a magnifying glass to find it on here, but I've got my light magnifier. I would actually narrow it down into the space that it was, and I would find it and use the chart to do it. Or you could go here. So we're looking for a red dash on a blue background, and there we go there. Number 10, thread number 10. So always just make sure if you're doing it this way, a lot of them are really similar to each other. And again, 04, that big red bit, if you look, that matches here, 04. So that's what that's really useful for, matching it up. A lot of the time I wouldn't use that, mainly because I would have it on my frame, and again, you'll see my frame if you look at my other video that I use. I found those frames find them really useful. That would all be tucked under on the frame. But, so that's what that one looks like, and that's the silk. So, as I said, all these silk, they're actually more shiny than you would realise, but they're very slippery. And that's where the problem comes in, but never mind. Yeah, we'll put this to the side. I bought the cotton version. Now, I actually did the cotton version because it was the cotton one that I decided to do. So again, it's the exact same thing I don't have the packaging for it anymore. It's the exact same chart you get. And again, now this one doesn't have a picture on it of the original picture. This is all the extra threads, so it's maybe useful to see. That's a big question that you always have in your mind when you get a kit. Oh my goodness, is there going to be enough thread in here? Because you think that, you know, the size of the chart, there couldn't possibly be enough thread. But put your mind at rest if you're doing this chart. I'm very economical when I'm stitching. I don't like to leave big beginnings and big ends wasted. I like to try and be careful with, you know, not wasting too much. But this is all the extra, and I'll show you the actual finished one in a minute. So this is what the cotton version looks like. And again, this is slightly different cards that they use. But I don't know if you can see that there, all the numbers, 1 all the way up. And it's the exact same idea, all the way up to number 49, that white one. So it's the exact same, I won't describe all that again. And that's how much was left over. And basically, again, I wasn't too happy with the colouring, because you'll see here, this is what it turned out like. It's nothing like, let's get the picture back again. The original picture, this was from the silk kit. That beautiful, bright kind of teal. However, I'm not going to complain too much. So this is it. Again, I won't move the camera to show you, but it's the exact same size as the other one. I'll just put this in frame so that you can see. I'll move this along slowly. This is what the actual finished one looks like. Little bird there. These big magnolia flowers. I love magnolia flowers. That's why I love this kit so much. Just because I love magnolias. And they're quite symbolic as well in Chinese culture. They're really symbolic, so you can look up what that all means. And that's it there. So that's what it looks like. I'll give you a little close-up. Maybe the little birds. See if you can see that a wee bit better. And this was a lot of zigzag lines, where you've got zigzag lines of one colour and zigzag lines of the next colour to try and give the effect. So I basically had this on my frame like this, and did this section and then moved it, did this section, moved it, completed all this section. And yeah, make up your own mind what you think about that. So that's a comparison of silk and cotton. So again, let's take the biggest cards. We've got our cotton here, and this is the silk ones. They're all jumbled up now. And that's, so they're again the exact same colours, but that's the difference. What is my honest opinion, having done my first full stamped kit? To me, I separate that in my head, having completed some Heaven and Earth Design 1 heads, which you can see in a previous video that I did, and this is my first full stamped kit that I completed. In my head, I don't know if everyone else thinks the same, but it's two slightly different hobbies from each other. So, and the advantages and disadvantages, I think this is brilliant for not having to think too much. You might have got in from a really hard day's work, or you're just really busy for whatever reason, and you want to sit down and do something really relaxing, which is, at the end of the day, that's why I do cross stitching, because it's a therapeutic, relaxing hobby to do. It just winds you down. You can start your brain winding down and just do a bit of stitching. That's why most people do these crafting hobbies, isn't it? And you don't have to think, you don't have to worry about counting across and up and down and all that. You just literally go, I'm going to do a big patch of that 49 all around about there, take the 49 and just do it without thinking too much. It's easier to see because most of these are in 11 count. You physically couldn't have a stamped kit that was 25 or 28 count, because you wouldn't be able to see what colour the little squares are. So it's a bigger count, so I never needed a light magnifier for that. Much easier on the eyes. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of stitching this. So as an enjoyable hobby to do, I would give it massive thumbs up. The downside to it is the same as a lot of the Chinese stamped kits because I've bought a couple and I'll show you some of them in other videos later on. The colours don't always match. Sometimes you're a bit disappointed with the picture. So I was hoping for something more like this, and I got this. I'm not saying that I would really put this up on my wall. I might put it up if I ever set up a crafting room. I might have this up on the wall, but I'm not as fussy because things like this. Now that is, I don't know if you can see that there. That's another little bird, and in reality, when that's comes out, it doesn't really look like anything. So I was a bit disappointed from it that point of view. They're not, being really honest, they're not as nice as, well, they don't really compare to something like Hades or other designers, full coverage, where you've got the pattern and it's a much more intricate design, mainly designed to be done on smaller counts, although you could do them on 11 count if you wanted to. The other ones are much more artistically, aesthetically pleasing. But, do you know, I wouldn't diss this at all. I would say if you're interested in doing a printage kit, give it a go. Cost-wise, this was about more or less £10. It took me quite a few months to do, so for that 10 quid, just say it took me 4 months to do, because it's a very time-consuming hobby, as anyone that does this will know. You can break that down into about £2.50 a month. So what about 80p a week to keep you really occupied for hours, you know, at nights, sitting in front of the TV. They're not expensive. Compared to a Hades, a Heaven and Earth design, or another full coverage one, where you buy the pattern and you kit it all up yourself, that would maybe cost for something this size, I'm not sure, more or less, maybe twice the price. Bearing in mind that this is 11 count, so if you were to do this on, for example, 25 count, it would be a lot smaller, so you would need a much smaller piece of Aida, which would maybe come out about £8 worth of Aida, and all your threads. I wouldn't imagine there would be any more than about £10 worth of thread if you're buying the cheaper Chinese brands, so possibly about £20. So maybe this is about half the price, and you still have a really good hobby for it. So that's my honest opinion. Give it a go if you're interested. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've taken something useful out of it. And if you want to see more videos, stay tuned to my channel, because I'll give you more similar types of videos, and I'll go into all different aspects of cross-stitching and some aspects about actual different types of embroidery as well. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.